Others have already sent out the alert, and thankfully many are listening. What the alarms can't tell you, though, is the inside human cost of following Jesus in the 21st century. That's why these stories were written. It would be easy to conclude from the acceleration of Christian persecution that followers of Christ are on the run and are systematically being crushed by the forces of Islamic terrorism, fanatical dictators, and hostile nations. Yet the opposite is actually true. Jesus said his followers would experience persecution for merely being associated with him. He also predicted an escalation of intensity over time. On the night before he went to the cross, Jesus spelled out the details. They will put you out of the synagogue. In fact, a time is coming when anyone who kills you will think he is offering a service to God. John chapter 16, verse 2. The evidence here suggests that the time Jesus referred to is now. In areas ripe with Muslim fundamentalism or controlled by Sharia law, agreeing to return to Islam is the only way of escape for a believer with a knife to his or her throat. In places like Iran, only a full confession of apostasy, a complete list of names of underground house church leaders, and a reconversion to Islam can unlock the prison gate. In Mosul, Iraq, ISIS gave Christians 4 choices: convert to Islam, pay a large and unaffordable jizya, tax, leave, or die. The new face of Christianity. Oppressors over the centuries have never recognized that the persecution of Christians is always a failed initiative. It just doesn't work. To the contrary, killing believers routinely accelerates the spread of the gospel and the growth of the church. For those of us in the West, the threat of persecution is virtually non-existent. But statistics show church growth in America, which experiences no persecution, has leveled off during the last 20 years. Why? Because Jesus' message of love and reconciliation thrives in a climate where hostility, danger, and martyrdom are present. Persecution and the spread of the gospel are as inseparable as identical twins. Suffering propels the growth of Jesus movements around the world. So in Hamas-controlled Gaza, former Muslims worship Jesus right under the noses of terrorists. In Syria and Iraq, ISIS may grab headlines with beheadings and inhumane torture, but underground churches flourish. In Saudi Arabia, Muslims worship Jesus in Mecca and Medina, the heart of Islam. As inconceivable as it is to Christians who have not faced life-threatening persecution, the suffering produces immense blessing through the radical transformation of individual believers. Each one comes away marked, never truly returning to the same life. Sometimes survivors are unrecognizable even by their own families, because, in the midst of their brutal affliction, they experienced Christ in an hour of need as few of us ever do. Persecuted believers have become the new face of genuine Christianity. They are filled with passion to live or die for Christ, and we in the West have much to learn from them. The 8 stories in this book introduce you to a handful of these courageous believers. They have learned to cling to Christ. Like a drowning man clutching a life preserver, it's just the believer and Jesus. And what have they discovered? That Jesus alone is always more than enough to take them by the hand through trial after life-threatening trial. Not around the pain, but all the way through. Malik, a Christ follower from the Middle East, once told me, "Every Christian should go to jail at least once in life because of their faith in Christ. It's good for you." Can you relate to that? This former Muslim added, "You'll never be the same after experiencing the loneliness of a jail cell." But then there is great elation that comes when you realize Jesus is capable of filling 100% of that loneliness and more. My deepest spiritual lessons were learned on the cold floor with no one there but Jesus and me. Malik is not